Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday. That means it's time for the Wrestling Inc. Monday Night Raw after show. And even though we don't have any fancy QR codes, we do have Triple J in the house. Justin LaBar, Jack Farmer, and of course, Jimmy Korderas. Fellas, Jimmy, how was your weekend?
It was good. I mean, I can't complain. It's been a little bit warmer than seasonal here, so it's not overly warm. And, just enjoying myself, trying to enjoy myself as best I can.
Yeah. Justin, any fun adventures over the weekend?
Well, I don't know about adventures. I mean, I snuck 18 holes into the weekend. I put some things on the grill. Football was disappointing. I'm 0-2 in fantasy football, and it's just so disappointing the fact that I have Stephon Diggs, who had three touchdowns and 1,000,000 yards tonight. I have Tom Brady as my quarterback, and Tom Brady's scoring 11 points fantasy. I have Tom Brady as my starting quarterback and Baker Mayfield as my bench quarterback, and I actually have to consider at week 3 swapping those two. That's how bad that is right now. But otherwise, I'm great.
Well, you know what's going to happen. You're going to swap them, and then Brady's going to put up like 40 points.
Which is why I'm not actually going to swap him.
You're going to hold on.
But if Tom Brady hears this, I want him to know that somewhere in Pittsburgh, PA, there's a fantasy owner with $1,000 riding on the line that is contemplating and trying to scare him into getting him to play a little bit better.
I'm sure you're the only person who's upset about his fantasy numbers this week. My fantasy team's I'm 0-2. I've done terrible this year, by the way. Russell Wilson, I pick you every year, and this year you're letting me down in 2 ways. But I had a fun. I did ring announcing for Circle 6. That was a fun little wrestling adventure. Started the show off with yes, just to keep the brand on point here. But let's talk about brands. Let's talk about the show. Let's talk about a brand that has been around for a very long time, and it's getting a little facelift with something else that's been around for a very long time. War Games is coming to Survivor Series, and it's no longer brand versus brand. Jimmy, this feels like something that is updating a pay-per-view that people have been saying for a very long time needs something to freshen it up.
No, absolutely. And this is perfect. I think the War Games concept is really good. I like the fact that it's not going to be SmackDown versus Raw or brand versus brand, whatever you want to call it. I like that it's going to be storyline driven, and it's good. And we'll get to it later when we talk about the show, but it looks like there were some seeds planted as to who could possibly be in those War Game matches, because we know right now it's, if I'm not mistaken, there's one men's and one women's War Games match.
I believe so. Yeah. He said 2. I don't think he actually said men and women's, but he said there was 2. So I would assume.
Right. Yeah. And if that's the case, I think definitely some seeds were planted tonight.
Yeah. Justin.
Yeah, Survivor Series has always been very near and dear to my heart, so I'm actually extra hard on it. It was the first pay-per-view I ever went to live. So Survivor Series was birthed in November of '87. That's when I was birthed. So we're both turning 35 this year. It's right when Jimmy started there.
It was my first pay-per-view that I actually refereed at. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Justin.
No, so I mean, it's close to all of us. And here's the thing. It is a concept that is so the origin of the concept is very outdated. In 1987, it's a big deal to have a 5-on-5 match, to see 10 TV established stars in the ring at the same time against each other in an elimination style. Because normally, you're seeing them for weeks on end, just showing off their character, showing off their signature moves, taking on your jobbers, the enhancement talent. So, 35 years ago, that's a great concept. Okay. that is not a draw in any which way. And then, oh, by the way, when you have something that's not a draw as the concept of the pay-per-view or premium live event now, and then there's like really no stakes. The stakes with the Raw and SmackDown bragging rights. I mean, so this War Games being infused into it. Obviously, War Games is something from the late '80s, so there's a little throwback there. But War Games actually, funny enough, brings an updated, appeal to this brand. We see 3-on-3 established stars, regularly at house shows or regularly on TVs. Okay, now, but you don't see War Games regularly. You don't see 2 rings. So that helps give you something significant. And then also, by the way, if it's going to be storyline driven, if it's going to matter, if it's going to mean something, that changes everything. So good on Triple H and this creative move, because I've been saying for the last couple of years, Survivor Series in my mind has fallen out of the big 4. I think Money in the Bank kind of took its place as being a relevant storyline driven fourth biggest premium live event.
Now, they didn't say specifically this, but does that mean we're not getting Survivor Series matches this year, Justin? Or is it like
No, I
don't.
don't think that's necessarily. I think the two main event matches in Survivor Series will be War Games, but you could still see some other traditional Survivor Series matches. Fine, but the show needs to be built around something more, and thank God it's going to be. It's going to be built around War Games.
Now, Jimmy, I am excited about this. I love War Games. I'm excited. I'm excited about the changes. But if I'm trying, I gotta ask questions. I gotta play devil's advocate sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a part of us that says this takes away War Games from NXT, and now instead of having two shows, Survivor Series and War Games, we just get the one? Is there a negative to this?
No, I don't know if you'd call it a negative. Yes, it was something that was specific to NXT, and I get taking it and bringing it up to the main roster, so to speak, is something that you're taking away from NXT. But then again, that means more eyes will be on this, and it'll get out there to more people, and I think it'll generate more interest being on the main roster, so to speak. It doesn't mean that you can't have a War Games match with the NXT talent. It just doesn't have to be brand specific. It doesn't have to be main roster specific. It doesn't have to be developmental specific. These concept matches, you can utilize them on the same weekend. You can have a War Games match with the NXT superstars as well, since they probably have their own takeover that weekend or whatever they're going to call it.
Fair enough. Yeah, like I said, I like it, but I got to ask the questions. That's part of the job. Someone who was getting asked questions was MJF. He had an interview, and from the Wrestling Purist, they kind of retweeted some of the details of it on Twitter. He says they asked about the contract and everything, and he says that he got a pay raise from AEW, but he has not signed a contract extension, which was the big sticking point early on in all this. Justin, that seems like a big win for MJF. My question for you is, do we believe MJF?
I actually do. That's a dangerous statement to make about a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. Yeah, I think he was talking with. I think the interview was with Ariel Helwani.
Yep.
I believe obviously he's been doing great stuff lately. Always does, but
yeah, he's had a great week.
Yeah, just had his Triple H, stuff. First off, if MJF did sign an extension, he would never publicly. What benefit is there? Either if he did, it doesn't help your character in any way. Keep spouting and saying that you're a free agent January 1st, 2024, and there's be no reason to at all come out publicly say, oh yeah, I signed a 3-year extension. So, but I do actually believe him that he's probably gotten more money. That's why he is back on TV. He's probably gotten back on the same page creatively with Tony of, okay, where are we headed? I also think that as the drama was escalating between some of the other people in the company, that might have also let Tony Khan say, okay, like, that gave MJF leverage. This guy's valuable. This guy is a draw. This guy is, by all accounts, MJF is he's a loudmouth that sticks to his heel promo. But by all accounts, he gets along with the locker room as professionally as one is going to. Everybody's professionally trying to jockey for a better spot, but he doesn't have people barging into his dressing room trying to fight him, as best we know. Right. So I think everything's
actually a good an important.
Yeah,
so I think these days.
Yeah, I think so. All just he has the leverage, and I do believe that he probably said, "Look, I'm going to come back. You're going to pay me more money because I am worth it right now. I'm not signing an extension just yet. Doesn't mean that somewhere in the next year and a half that he won't, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he really is going to ride out both on his perspective of, let me see how this AEW thing goes. Again, he was one of the AEW kind of like homegrown. Yes, he was else, but by all accounts,
right.
He was an homegrown. And AEW had the new car smell, had a lot of momentum in their first year and a half, but as we've talked about, it's been, there's more competition now with WWE. There's been drama that's going on. Again, why would he sign extra? Sit around and see how much more you can improve your value and make yourself attractive to the wrestling world the next year and a half. And then, oh, by the way, see if this is still the company that you thought it was when you started there.
And Jimmy, I got to agree with Justin. I think I got to believe MJF here because if he did sign an extension, that news would eventually leak that he was lying about this. Like that's it's one of those things. It just takes one phone call from a person in WWE to say, "I talked about your contract. No, you're tied up." Okay, for it to come out.
No, absolutely, and like you said, I think Justin hit the point very well. And here's the thing: I think, like you said, is he telling the truth? Yes, I believe he is as well, because they were caught in a spot here with this turmoil, this backstage stuff that hit the papers and everything. And there is some speculation out there. Oh, it's this big elaborate work that they're trying to present to everybody. And I think that's just a smokescreen for it being exactly what it is there was a discrepancy backstage. And like Justin said, to all accounts, MJF does work professionally with everybody back there. And maybe after this incident, it kind of upped his value, so to speak. And that's why, probably got that increase that he's talking about. But at the same time, you also plant seeds in your head and you start thinking, everything seemed great here, but now everything seems to be, the grass always seems greener on the other side. So let's not just sign up right away. Let's take my time. I'm going to see how things develop. Everybody's talking about how, with Hunter taking over, with Triple H, Paul Levesque taking over the creative division of WWE right now, how it seems to have, it's ticking all the right boxes. At least it seems to be right for this point. So give it some time. Let's see how that works out. Let's see how the locker room over where he is works out. And then I'm sure he's going to make his decision. But I don't think he's unhappy where he is. And especially now, if he got a raise, he's probably even happier.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're Tony Khan, or if you're anybody in the locker room there, you look at things, you're like, all right, well, this guy MJF, maybe he's an asshole. Maybe he isn't. You look at this guy over here, CM Punk. Maybe this guy's an asshole. Maybe he isn't. But I got more people that are willing to work with this asshole.
Right.
So,
right. Plus,
I don't know.
I mean, I think, if you're looking at it from like a football general manager standpoint, for instance, one of them is very young. One of them is on the come up. One of them maybe hasn't even reached their full potential yet. One of them is, as you mentioned, one of your guys. Yeah.
And by the way, I don't think MJF's actually an asshole. I think he commits to who he is, and I think but I don't think that he's, again, I don't think he'd ever go into business for himself in the manner of which we've talked about Punk having done so in the settings he has. So I'm just kind of being funny about, if anybody might have a complaint about MJF, I think as Jimmy was saying, the way things have transpired over the summer, it gave him leverage of, you gonna come back and deal with me now? Gonna pay me?
Zook Enigma in the chat with the super chat says, I wonder if he paid MJF bloop dollars. I actually don't know what that means.
I think he's asking, did Tony Khan pay MJF? And then he's like, he's not cursing on the super chat.
Oh,
unless the kids are saying bloop, and I just don't know what bloop stands for.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I thought what it meant, what you meant, Justin. But you're right. I don't want to say that and be like, no, don't. Bloop is like LOL, except it means big, loony. I don't know. I can't come up with the whole thing here.
This new lexicon too. It's also this new pronunciation of words that start with ST, but putting an SHT, like you're walking down the street. Not the street, This is, I don't know where this all came from, but everybody's doing it now. I think
we sound like three suburban dorks right now.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Get off my lawn. Anyway, yeah.
Next up on the Out of Touch podcast.
Oh my god. That's a Q what code that they had on Raw?
Did you R?
What was that crossword puzzle looking thing they put up on the screen? Well,
somebody put their Best Buy retail sticker up on the wall. Why do they do that? Why do they peel it off the CD? What happened there? CD.
Well, let's get into this show. But as always, thank you everyone who's watching. If you're listening to us later on Spotify, hit us with a review, a 5-star review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, 5-star review with a little comment. And also, if you're joining us live or on YouTube, comment, share, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. If you're in the chat, though, Thank you so much for joining us. We got Dylan Matthews, Tut Graf, Bernie, DC, Ian, and Grandma Daisy, and Lexi, and Baby Ice, and M. Rouse in the house, and everyone else. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Tim, Big John, thank you. No Bueno Crew, George 10928, Adam Staples. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Let's get into the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some pro wrestling here. We start the show. And boy, did we start this show. Bobby Lashley versus Seth Rollins, United States Championship match. A match I would have sworn was going to main event this thing, but it ends with Lashley retaining after Matt Riddle distracts Seth Rollins. Justin, I thought this was the absolute perfect setup. It was a great match. Lashley gets another big retention. Rollins looks tough, and the rivalry with Riddle stays hot, and now Rollins has a reason to want a match with Riddle. I thought this worked out great.
Yeah, and great job actually just recapping, because that means so much business accomplished, so many things, and also just a subcontext of all this. Once again, a mid-card title feeling important, mattering. So that campaign continues. Yeah, Rollins definitely. I know some of it's the song, but he definitely is getting a little bit. Every town he's getting a few more cheers. So I'll be interested to watch that. I mean, they did try to crank up the heat again later in the night, obviously with stuff that happens with he and Riddle. So. I think they're committed to keeping him on the heel side of the fence, but just something to note that, the audience is always right at the end of the day. So I'll just be watching how that goes. Because we have our referee on here, I will say I like the ref. I say this lightly. The bump that they did, creative, different, just a different way of the mechanics of physical. If you guys missed it, Bobby's got Seth in the full Nelson, the Hurt Lock full Nelson deal, and. Rollins is flipping and a flying, trying to, swinging his feet, trying to get out of it. And they end up basically just barricading the referee to the mat, which causes the referee to need to inch his way up slowly and gives way for Rollins to hit the low blow. So it was just different. It wasn't just your same old.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I just made a note of that. And with Jimmy on here, wanted to hear what he thought, but yeah, overall solid start.
No, I liked it that it wasn't a bump, so to speak, like where the referee's down and out and all this, the shenanigans go on. It was him selling, visibly selling, and and Rollins taking quick advantage of that situation. And yes, I did like the way it did start. Obviously with Monday nights being challenging now, especially tonight with 2 games. So too bad my Titans got killed, but anyway. No, but it made perfect sense. Instead of starting with a promo segment, they started with this match and they made the match feel important. I like the language they used, the face of Monday night. I want to be United States champion to be the face of Monday Night Raw. So that makes that championship feel like the Raw, main title not above the undisputed championship, but you know what I mean? Making it Raw.
Yeah.
Elevating that title, so to speak. The only issue I have with it was, yes, the match was good, but you're coming out of the gate strong to start the match off hot. They didn't. They started the match off like
collar and elbow tie up, headlocks.
Yeah. Start the match off a little hot, then you could calm it down and bring it back up again. Because they gave the match plenty of time too, which I enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, people are going to say, you didn't like the match? Yes, I like the match. But if you're going up against Monday Night Football and you're trying to draw your audience and at least smack them right out of the gate and then, get to your match, if that makes any kind of sense.
Monday Night Football and Queen's funeral tonight. Am I?
It was earlier today.
Is it today? Okay.
Yeah.
It was this morning, but I also think the Queen stuff already happened, but the Monday Night Football 2 games, as Jimmy mentioned. I also think I don't watch, but judging by social media timelines, I do think Dancing with the Stars is that back. Was that on tonight?
You watch?
No, but I'm pretty sure. I thought I saw a hashtag. I saw a hashtag.
Oh, and one other quick thing. Yes,
it's trending right now. Dancing with hashtag DWTS.
Yeah, the finish. Obviously with Seth getting the low blow in with that not referee bump. Let's say just referee. Minor bump, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
But then Riddle coming out and distracting the heel. It almost felt weird that the babyface wins off a distraction.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because I want to bring that up in a second. But we do have some super chats I want to get to. Zook Enigma, by the way, saying in the voicemail, Tony bleeps out how much he was paid. Oh, I get you. Thank goodness I'm not out of touch. That's the important thing. And then forgive me if I pronounced the name wrong, but Jovan Gathings, thank you for the super chat. If you wanted to add something in there, just go ahead and say whatever you wanted to say, and we'll read it on the air for you, because it looks like it's a blank one on our end. But if you have something, just type it in there, and we will read it on the air. And then just so you know, Maya Lee, I see your super chat, and I will get to that once we get over to the Judgment Day stuff, and we'll talk about that. So I didn't forget about you. I didn't miss you. I'm just going to wait until we're to that part of the show. But I just want to shout out too, the block of the curb stomp by Bobby Lashley was super cool. I didn't forget that. Fun little spot there.
Yes, absolutely it was.
We move on to Damage Control coming out, and Bailey and the crew talk about how they run the show now, and then Bianca, Bliss, and Asuka show up, and they say that Bianca became complacent as champ, but woke up when Bailey pinned her, and Bianca doesn't see the long-term game plan like Bailey does. Alexa Bliss eventually says both her and Lily bite, and she wants a shot at Bailey tonight. Jimmy, I love the little golf cart addition to this group. I love Damage Control and what they're doing. They are such a good bad guy group without being we're the dominant, like they win, but they're not like, no, we just beat people up and we're bad guys. Like they've got characters to them.
No, absolutely. And it's working. And for all those people out there who say, well, I don't know if Bailey works as a heel, you saw she got the crowd to boo her tonight. They were actually, Bailey is someone who is liked by the crowd. I thought she would suffer from the Becky Lynch syndrome, where they want to cheer her, and maybe they do, but tonight they booed her. And this is in her hometown as well, pretty much. So, I think she's doing a wonderful job. And as far as the golf cart, I had flashbacks of WrestleMania 17 with Kane driving the one back there. But anyways, with me on the back. But it was a cool entrance. It just felt smarmy, heelish. You know what I mean? And it's working for them.
And let's not forget the limo arrival just before that.
Yeah, exactly.
All those little details are so helpful in making people seem more important or more interesting. And I love it because it costs nothing, in the sense of, some people they don't have to beat someone up. They look better, but they haven't taken away from any of their characters in the process. But Justin, I want to talk to you about the character of Bailey and this group, because what I loved about tonight is I felt like everything they were saying really talked about their narrative of wanting to control the division and how they don't like where the division's gone without them. And it helps give sort of a objective of this group, as opposed to just, again, a group that's like, we're a group, Yeah,
no, that's, and again, that's a creative, simple thing, but a refreshing thing of, why are you together? What's the purpose? What is it? Even in the explanation of that Bailey's given about, you mentioned, Jack, about how Bianca got complacent until Bailey came back. Even that still means that Bianca's been holding the title all this time. So it's like it exercises that art of as a heel, and it's a fine line. It's a very special art to figure out. Is you want to talk trash on the babyface, but you can't bury the babyface. Otherwise, what's the point? So, I thought that's just a nice little touch of, she's not burying Bianca. It's acknowledging Bianca's been atop this division, in the mix at least, and mostly on top for a while. And then it's like, oh, well, now then she just started becoming, old hat that she's champion of the division. Well, now I'm back. I'm a real threat to her. I mean, that's like a perfect walk the line. So I like this. I like this golf cart touch. I like to get the showing up the limo. It's simple things that just, again, if you're booking to the most casual person, you see a limo show up, you see these three girls get out, you're like, well, they must be a big deal. And then it's like, coming up next, they're in the ring. It's like, it's just a little thing. It's just a little thing. Just well, they showed up in a limo. Nobody else showed up in a limo tonight on TV. Perception
is reality.
Right.
So crazy, going back a few years ago when Bailey first turned, I was like, this will never work. She's too lovable. And here she is. She's fantastic at it. But of course, super friend of the show, Peter asks a super chat, if you're MJF and you just got engaged, do you want to live that WWE schedule versus the 1 day a week with AEW and make as much money to travel less. I would guess there, and you guys might know better than this, that if you're working that WWE schedule where you're working more often, you're probably getting paid more.
It's, well, first off, again, that's a year and a half away.
Mm-hmm.
A lot can happen. A lot can happen in terms of, WWE. I mean, WWE's been pulling back on some house shows by and large anyways, but AEW might add more. They might get to a point where they have to do more, whatever, that'll be coming in new TV money, we think, at that point. So you don't know if AEW's on the same schedule, but right now I do know that is an attractive thing to talent that they only have to go to TV, 1 day a week, maybe 2 days if there's a pay-per-view or something. But yeah, that's it. But to your point, Jack, it's like, and Jimmy can speak more on this, while Tony Khan is rivaling WWE with downside guarantees for top stars, WWE still is seen by more people, still has more avenues of distribution, still has bigger properties, still has shows in Saudi Arabia where you make big purse for going over there. And yeah, if you work house shows, at least the way it's structured, I believe, still, you get a piece of the pie if you have that negotiated. And that's the other thing. He can negotiate. He might say, look, I'll work a couple live events, but I'm only going to work X in a year. Send me out to the bigger ones. Send me out to Madison Square Garden. Send me out to the ones where you really want to draw the house for these So it's a valid question, Peter, but all of that is subject to negotiation as it relates to schedule and money.
I don't know MJF. I've never met him, never talked to him or anything like that. But also I think something about the WWE that might be attractive is I've always believed MJF is a sneaky leave for Hollywood eventually guy. Because you look at, he has all these videos of him going to Rosie O'Donnell and being a singer and doing all that. I think the guy is a performer, and I could imagine him saying what other avenues are there. And I'm a big AEW fan, but let's face it, WWE is a much easier gateway to other opportunities because of its platform. And Nick Khan knows people in Hollywood, so.
Absolutely. And I know the Canadian heat magnet, as I like to refer to myself sometimes, is going to get heat for saying this, but MJF for his young age understands the concept of pro wrestling / sports entertainment. You have to be the complete package. You can't just go out there and do, as I say, the twisting, burning 450 hammer Phoenix splash, and that's enough to get yourself over because you can do all these fantastic moves. You have to be the complete character, and sometimes you don't have to do those big moves. And MJF is learning how to get himself hugely over without having to potentially sacrifice his body with major big time moves that can do some damage. And for someone so young, and like you, Jack, I've never met him, but he seems to get it. Yeah.
Hey, Jack, can I also get a cheap plug? This is like the easiest segue for cheap plug real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to get in earlier, but I guess we're talking about travel and different shows. So SmackDown's coming back to Pittsburgh here in December. So for anybody that wants to come to Pittsburgh or is in the Pittsburgh area, whatever, and you're thinking, oh, SmackDown Friday night, maybe a good Christmas present, whatever. SmackDown general on sale tickets go on sale this Friday. There's a special pre-sale happening Wednesday to Thursday. You have to have a code to get on the pre-sale on Ticketmaster. If you use the code LaBar, you get access to the crop of tickets they're putting out there. The link is on my Twitter to the Ticketmaster page where it starts at 10 a.m. Wednesday. So use the code LaBar, LABAR, and you can get yourself in on SmackDown. A lot of things going on SmackDown, so cheap plug.
Tremendous.
You have a promo code for SmackDown tickets?
WWE gave me a promo code for SmackDown Ticketmaster tickets. Use the code LaBar. You get in, and you get the special pre-sale that happens from Wednesday to Thursday. Again, and the way the shows have been picking up, tickets are moving faster. Things are selling quicker. And again, I stress Friday night in December, great for the family. Great night, whether you have kids and you want a night out, and there's no school night, and it's an early Christmas present from Santa, or if you're, if you want to just go out with the guys or go out with the missus or whatever, have a Friday night in Pittsburgh, December 9th, SmackDown. But again, you can get in on it. Use the code LaBar.
Nice.
Justin LaBar with the Jimmy, do you have a promo code for Raw in Edmonton in 2 weeks?
No, I didn't
So
even
help
have
me.
a promo code
So
for
help
here
me
in
if you
Toronto, my
don't-
hometown.
It's corduroy.
It's corduroy. Yes,
You go to the
promo
back
code-
door of the arena and you knock on it and they go password. You go corduroy. It's like a speakeasy and you go in.
Yeah, they let you in.
I'm using it. I'm calling somebody tomorrow.
Gosh. Well, if you use promo code Jack Farmer, you get nothing. So Justin LaBar with the promo code. Very cool. Yeah, that's absolutely put that over. And if you didn't hear the promo code, go follow Justin LaBar on Twitter and check it out there. So very cool there. Well, we talked about Edmonton. Well, that leads me to a Canadian by the name of Kevin Owens. And Austin Theory and Kevin Owens, they have a match, and this is just another really good matchup, with the key being that Johnny Gargano comes out and takes the Money in the Bank briefcase to distract Theory, giving KO the win. Jimmy, you had mentioned good guys winning because of good guys distracting. This stood out to me. This was 2 matches in a row where a good guy came out and distracted the bad guy, causing the bad guy to lose. And to me, that stood out as kind of weird.
No,
And you mentioned it, so I want to just throw it back to you.
I thought it felt weird in the first match to have it go that way. And I also think it felt weird in this match as well. And especially that it happened, like you said, in back-to-back matches. Yes, we had the promo segment in between, but still, back-to-back matches, we had a babyface come out to distract the heel so that the other babyface can win. And yes, I get it. Kevin Owens is kind of like that, badass babyface guy, so to speak. But at the same time, it just again felt off to me. And I couldn't agree more with that, Jack.
I note this whenever he does it because it always impresses me. That rolling blockbuster move that Austin Theory does is just wildly athletic. I don't know how he does it. It's incredible. But by the way, Justin, before I throw it to you, Dylan in the chat asking, he can't wait for the Pop H finger to point to Justin pick. I'll miss you when you're off working with the E in New York. But I thought that this was the good guy distracting the bad guy thing twice in a row thing aside, Justin. I just thought it was another good, if you like pro wrestling matches, wrestling match.
Yeah, it was good. I agree with Jimmy though, so I won't rehash, but I think it's a valid point. But my thing with Owens and Theory. I mean, we'll talk about Owens obviously is in his 30s. He's probably obviously he's got less years in Theory, but you just look at these two, and I just look, man, this is what it's all about in terms of your building. Here's a guy. Theory obviously has been a very important guy for a while. Obviously, they look at him as one of the future stars to build around. Then you have Kevin Owens, who's right there in the prime. Just got to just work main event in Mania and got Steve Austin to come out of retirement, and so just what a blend right here we have going on. And this is what we've been looking for and asking for, is establish new stars, build stars, the rub, and that's what went on here. Again, finish questions to that as noted, but just what we got here, this is what we need. It makes me. I'm excited for Extreme Rules. I'm excited for Crown Jewel. I'm excited for Survivors. I am so psyched for Royal Rumble and the Road to Mania this year. I am so psyched for Rumble because I feel like right now, since Triple H got that pen, he's been, he's doing this here for this show, and he's got to fill each week. But I feel like he's got that pad of paper. I feel like he's got like a little confidentiality, manila folder, and he opens it up every now and again when he's by himself, and it's just like Rumble and Mania ideas. And I'm just like, I feel like he is just going to let loose when Rumble comes of ideas and things that we see and people we see and how we build a Mania. How does Mania get produced? What does he take that he learned sitting under Vince's tree for the last 25 years? But then what little touch does he put on it that he always wanted to do, but Vince didn't want to do? It is a fun time to be a viewer of WWE.
I can't believe how it really is. You're right. It's incredible because I'm even excited for, you mentioned Crown Jewel. One I'm usually not that excited for, but guess what? This one I am actually really excited for. We got a press conference over the weekend, and we got a little recap of it, and it's Logan Paul going up against the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And Jimmy, if you had told me a year ago that I was going to be excited to see Logan Paul challenge for the world title against Roman Reigns, I would say you're out of your mind. But I'm sold. I want to see this matchup. How are you feeling about Logan Paul making the multiverse and challenging for the title?
I'm very interested to see this match because I'm very impressed with Logan Paul's in-ring ability, and he displayed that at WrestleMania this year and stuff like that. So, sorry, was it WrestleMania or SummerSlam? Why am I so confused?
Both
actually. Yeah,
yeah.
He could definitely go in the ring. I'm sure these two could tell a great story, but you think about it, and I think back to last week, and I said this in my rant today, that I think some of the thought process might be that in Saudi Arabia, the audience there, the live crowd, doesn't react, I don't think, as they do here in North America now. They don't do that whole, we're going to cheer the cool baby face, cool heel guy. See, Roman Reigns in this, if this was taking place in the United States, I think Roman Reigns would be cheered, and live crowd would boo Logan Paul because they think he's taking the spot away from someone more deserving, blah, 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 the whole thing. Here now in Saudi Arabia, you might get the desired reaction, especially if they plan the match out where he's actually getting the upper hand on Roman Reigns, and you might get the audience to cheer for him and boo Roman Reigns. And that's what I'm hoping we get here. But I'm curious, but I'm also positive we're going to be pleasantly surprised in this match. Not at the outcome, which we'll talk about at another time, but at the match itself.
This match, what I also love about it too, because I agree, Logan Paul way better in the ring than he has any right to be, I think, with the number of matches he's had. But what I love about this too is that Crown Jewel to me feels like it doesn't count. It's like a bonus features most of the time. And I'm glad that this isn't one of the big matches that I'm glad this isn't a Seth Rollins rematch or a Cody Rhodes or one of the big matches that we want for like a WrestleMania or something, because I feel like that doesn't count, where this one feels fun. And if it doesn't count, who cares? Justin, I want your thoughts on that, but I also want your thoughts about the way they got here with a press conference, not during a regular show, and kind of the way they've used the podcast and all this other stuff to get to this match, as opposed to just on SmackDown.
Well, look, first off, I don't mind it. I think it's something that WWE didn't do enough of in recent years, where it's like, look, it's not weird to have an element of a match being built to utilize podcasts. I mean, it's just one of the most over mediums in the world right now. And Logan Paul's got one of the most popular podcasts in the world. So I'm okay with that. Look, if this was Logan Paul's first WWE match, I'd see the problem. I'd see okay, this is low hanging fruit, but this is also like, what are you trying to give us? What are you trying to, and what, like you said, a bonus show. What are you trying to shove down our throat? But I know it's only been 2 matches, but it's been 2 matches on 2 of the biggest shows that WWE has this year, WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And Logan Paul looks the part. He talks the part. He has little subtleties down that some guys I've seen on the independent scene for 5-10 years don't get down in terms of working the crowd. So he's proven that he's in this. He's all in this when he has. He's not a guy that's gonna be. He's not gonna be working house shows every week and whatever. But he's a guy when he's got a big special appearance and match, he's putting all into it. Okay, so it's not going to be an embarrassing match. He's not going to embarrass the profession of Triple H wouldn't allow him to be in that match if he thought it was going to be embarrassing. Roman Reigns, with the legacy of the Anawahi family, would not accept an opponent on this level if he thought he was going to be embarrassed. So the fact of the matter is, if Logan Paul can hold his own, which he can, this is a bonus show, like you said. I don't think really anybody is really thinking, Roman Reigns is going to lose this title. So it's just a way to, but it's still something that you still want to see. You do want to, I mean, out of curiosity, let me see how Logan Paul does with Roman Reigns. And to Jimmy's point, the crowd's a little more under control in certain respects. It's a paid show, folks. WWE is not doing this show saying we're going to spend X. Damn, I hope the buys and the ticket gate is Y. It doesn't matter. It's they are getting their money no matter what. So everything that happens is bonus, essentially.
Yeah,
dude's got 24 million Instagram followers, 6.5 million Twitter. I mean, that is insane. That is insane.
Mhm.
If just a certain percentage of people decide, oh, I'm going to tune into Peacock that day and see my dude Logan Paul in a ring with Roman Reigns. Like you just can't. People that bury that just. I hope they never ever run a wrestling company.
I mean, yeah, to your point, like because most of those followers probably are not wrestling fans, because that's not the majority of what Logan Paul does. And so if 1/24 of them tune in, that's 1 million extra eyeballs, pairs of eyeballs.
And sorry to cut you off. I wanted to make this point too.
Yeah.
If it's not just like, yeah, okay. So I'm not saying that all the new eyeballs that he brings are going to be converted into new lifelong fans. It's also just, as Triple H has said, and they say all the time, how they're in competition with everybody for attention spans. And today's everybody's attention span is dictated by what's top on their timeline, right? It's just the fact of, if you have all of his followers and they are just starting to hear that he's doing this thing with WWE, and they know what WWE, they know pro wrestling, they've heard of Stone Cold, they've heard of The Rock, but they're hearing more about it. And then media gives more attention to what Logan Paul does because he's Logan Paul. Just seeing WWE more in your timeline, even if it doesn't mean you're going to sit down and watch Raw every week or SmackDown every week, there's equity for WWE, just again, to be across more people's timelines, people that have more diverse backgrounds, more interests, more whatever. It all adds up. It all adds up just to be coming in on people's algorithms, on their timelines more and more and more, because you have somebody like Logan Paul who has all these different other avenues that he reaches people. And then they do a deep dive. Well, who's Roman Reigns? Oh my God, Roman Reigns is the cousin of The Rock? And then they look at him. Oh my God, Roman Reigns looks like Jason Momoa. He looks like a movie star. It's credibility. It's just timeline and Google credibility. And I can't stress that enough to people who are screaming at the top of their Twitter mountains who don't get this. It's like, you can't. This is one of the best investments they could have made, quite honestly. And you know what? Crown Jewels in November last year, I think they did a Saudi show on the road to Mania, which I wasn't crazy about, but they actually at least made it linear to the storylines. If they go back to Saudi in February, if Roman's still champion, fuck it. Have Pat McAfee challenge him.
I agree.
Wow.
I'm with you.
Why not? Because Pat has done the same thing. Pat is not an embarrassment when he gets in the ring. Pat's got a huge following. Pat brings a whole different audience and oh, by the way, he could go back on commentary in SmackDown when he's done with college football, and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline can beat him up, and real easy segue. Put Pat out. Again, nobody thinks Pat's going to win, but wouldn't it be fun to watch a few hope spots and just watch him out there with Roman? And oh, by the way, all the credibility he's going to bring, all the timeline. I'll stand by it. I'll double down, and when it happens, I'm gonna clap on this podcast and be happy.
I'm with you so much on everything you're saying, Justin. You just knocked out. I'm not gonna even add on. I'm just gonna leave it right there. But we do.
I ranted, but I had to get that out because I was driving me nuts to see the negativity.
What's the line? Nothing more to be said at this time.
Nothing more. Well, we do have something more to be said. Kazim has a super chat who says Drew lost because of this MF for Logan Paul. I don't know if that's true, but
I don't think that's why he lost. No.
Talks. I see with your Manchester United logo. You're one of our friends across the pond. Logan Paul or not, I don't think Drew was the pawn to get Cardiff sold. I don't think there was ever. Now looking at how things are going, I don't think there was ever, unless Roman was hurt or something. I don't think there was going to be any Drew winning the title. I think Drew was just an easy marketing pawn of, hey, it's our first pay-per-view / premium live event there, and however many years, let's go with one of the biggest UK stars we can, and let's go with her.
Plus, we got the great karaoke spot afterwards because of it. So we have one of the more noteworthy moments of the night was a simple QR code that is mentioned 923, a white rabbit, an hourglass, and asks, who killed the world? You did, Jimmy Korderas. You specifically. What is all this? What's going on?
I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. I wish I did, and I could just let it out eloquently here and let you know. But I'm just hanging back and waiting to see what this all means.
Yeah, Justin. But as I throw to you here, we got another super chat from Bear Hudson saying, Am I overreacting to the White Rabbit music playing during live events with the red lights? Is this any connection to Bray Wyatt, Killer Cross in Lucha? Of course, Killer Cross was the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground. Justin, what's going on with this White Rabbit? I feel like Bray Wyatt is the popular prediction, but what do you think?
Well, Barry, you're not overreacting. I mean, look, if nothing, again, Triple H has proven he loves to do little Easter eggs. He loves to put little things out there for people who are paying attention. We've seen that. We saw it for weeks on programming here. So no, I mean, it means something. And I also like the misdirection. Some might take it as that with Cross. Some might take it as that with Wyatt. That's what's great, right? I mean, it's just simple creative energy. I think the date of that video that Jack was referencing says 9/23. That's the SmackDown. So tune into SmackDown. I mean, I love it. I think Bray's eventually coming back. Whether this is that, I don't know, but I think Bray's eventually. I don't think Triple H would have given. I don't think Triple H would have dignified the question that Helwani asked when he asked about Bray. He gave as much of a response as he did. I don't think he would have given that much unless he already had a deal done or he knew that it was coming. I think if Bray was more of a free agent mystery, I think he gives a much more brief PR answer.
Yeah. I feel like I've been very because I feel like every week someone says it's Bray Wyatt, and I've been very whatever, we'll see. This does feel a little bit like maybe this is what it is, and I absolutely love the house shows having something that is getting people buzzing and talking, because it makes the house shows feel like, well, maybe something is going to happen. I got to go see this show now, and it just feels so much more. It just feels cool. I don't know, Jimmy. It's cool, right? I love.
We
don't know what blue means, but.
No, I love the fact that it keeps people guessing. I had somebody tweet me today and say, I don't know where this is leading. He was talking about a particular storyline. I don't know where this is leading. I'm confused. Where are they going with this? I said, well, tune in and find out. Sit back and enjoy. And that's the fun of this. When you see something coming and you go, yeah, I knew that was happening. It's not the same as when you go, oh, that was unexpected, and that was actually worked out pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like in wrestling, sometimes we try to figure it out too much, and then when it's not what we wanted, we build up these expectations that are unrealistic, and then when it doesn't happen, we're upset about it. So, but Tox maybe has an answer here in response. So I said, Tox Kazim says, let's give Kim Kardashian a title shot.
Sure.
I mean, is she good in the ring?
Can she bump?
Yeah.
If she can bump. If she can bump and feed, line her up for Bianca at Crown Jewel.
There you go.
Although,
because let's seriously though, let's give Pat and Logan their dues. They're pretty darn good in that ring. It's not like celebrities of the past. They're actually pretty good.
They slightly got more game than Drew Carey. Let's put it that way.
just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
We got a tag team match, Brawl and Brutes versus the Street Profits, a short promo to set us up to it. Number one contenders get a big win to build momentum going to their tag team title shot this Friday. Jimmy, this was a very straightforward. I thought this was just smart. You get Brawl and Brutes some more momentum, and whether or not they win, I don't know, but or on Friday, but they got a little more credibility.
Absolutely, they did. And it was a heck of a match. Again, this was I think another match where the crowd started chanting, this is awesome. And, we talk about getting that live reaction from the crowd, and they definitely did. And, obviously you can question going into the match on Friday who, technically the Brawling Brutes and the Usos are both heels. So you're having two heels going into this match. Yes, I get it. But they seem to be doing that a lot lately. Babyface versus babyface, heel versus heel. I guess to see what kind of a reaction, maybe they're trying to gauge the crowd to see what would happen, because the Brawling Brutes are actually kind of fun to watch. I'm enjoying them. So you never know. Maybe they could be that badass babyface tag team down the road.
Justin, if I can imitate what I see on wrestling Twitter all the time these days, what do you say to people who say, the WWE has absolutely buried the Street Profits with this kind of stuff.
No, I mean, no. The Street, look, the Street Profits still come out. Their music hits, people react. People know the catchphrase. People know the signature moves that they. I mean, they're not buried. You know, you can only. Not everybody can be champion at one time. Not everybody can be main event at one time. Like they're a consistent beacon of hope, of babyface hope in the tag division.
Mm-hmm.
They are. You know, we all kind of, myself included, we wondered, when is the split going to come? When, you know, who's going to throw who through the glass, the barbershop window? That seems to have died off right now. I mean, look, I was just happy to see a fresh matchup, just a fresh tag team match. So I like this. I like the Brawling Brutes as well. I also think too, the Brawling Brutes do, if they ever split from Sheamus or something, I could see them as being a baby, again, just that baby face tag, kind of like how, when Sheamus and Cesaro went like the best of 7 and then they ended up forming themselves in a tag team as like the Bar. I don't know if that was the plan the whole time or if they were just so damn physical with each other and people just kind of respected it and clapped for it. And then the company's like, well, let's just put them together and whatever. We have nothing else for them as single stars. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be shocked if that's kind of what happens with Ridge and Butch.
Yeah. I wanted to get that out because I see people talk sometimes on Twitter. I think that you're silly. I mean, Street Profits, they're just fine. But we do move on. We had a little quick segment backstage here. Alpha Academy, Johnny Gargano, and Kevin Owens all get together, and they have a really fun promo setting up a match next week. Jimmy, you had alluded to this earlier, and I feel like this is the best time to bring it up. Survivor Series right around the corner, and we're seeing a lot of random pairings in these episodes, whether it be Gargano and Kevin Owens, whether it be Mysterio and Riddle. Is this kind of teasing potential Survivor Series teams?
I think it is. These are little seeds being planted, as I like to say, and this could be definitely one. There is a history. I love the fact that they're referring to the history between Gargano and Kevin Owens, that they've known each other since pre-WWE days. Because before it was like nothing ever happened before the WWE. You know what I mean? Now, so they are acknowledging that, and like you said, and one of the most underrated talents on the roster right now is Chad Gable. He is just too much. He is this generation's, if I could say it, almost this generation's Kurt Angle without being the top guy. Mm-hmm. He has that in him. He's that good inside the ring, and he's also got that comedic timing about him too. So everything is working. And but getting back to your point, yes, I see some seeds being planted for Survivor Series here. And
Justin, old habits die hard. It's a new era, but will Kevin Owens turn on Johnny Gargano before next week?
No, I don't think so. I think they see that. I think Kevin Owens. I think he's being positioned as being, one of the baby faces they're going to run with in the company here. So. Yeah, no, I don't. I think actually the cool thing about Owens and Gargano together is that they are two baby faces. Oh, obviously Owens gets a bigger reaction for, he's been more established. He just had a match with Stone Cold at Mania. He's a little more well known, but it's like Owens is that anti kind of authority baby face. Johnny is like that wholesome white meat, wanting to marry your sister kind of baby face. So I think that's kind of cool to put them together and. Let them coexist.
Right. And they're also guys that I think this stereotypical what you would expect to be successful in WWE historically, they're not that, because Johnny Gargano's a big guy. Kevin Owens isn't necessarily the 6-pack abs guy. And so they both have had to overcome some things to get where they're at too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Neither shoot off the charts in my airport test that I always reference. Not
right.
And I know Johnny a lot better than I know Kevin. I work with Johnny for a lot. I mean, nothing against either of them, but yeah, I mean, they don't. And sometimes this is good if you want to not be bothered or annoyed. You can walk through a crowd, walk through an airport, and not stand out necessarily. You can put a hood up, put some glasses on, put your earbuds in, what have you. Right. So yeah, you're not necessarily passing the airport test, but they have proven in their arenas, in their contexts, that they have a connection with their audience.
Yes.
I'm trying to imagine Omos putting a hood up and being like, hopefully no one notices me.
You're not going to the Delta Lounge and not noticing Omos.
So we get Judgment Day and their match with Riddle and Mysterio. But beforehand, we get a promo from Judgment Day. And Justin, this was the loudest the crowd was all night. They were not a fan of Dominic Mysterio. And I'm listening to this crowd, and I'm thinking they must have done something right, because people do not like Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, this was a moment. This was you could tell Dom, and why would he? He's very young. He of course appreciated the reaction. I think he was a little taken back. Rhea even, and then they all went off script. Any talking points they had, all four of them had microphones. They all had their talking points of, hey, well, here's what I'm going to say, right? When Dom goes to talk and the crowd continues to build to not let him talk, nobody knew. Then improv started. Finn and Priest are trying to throw fuel on that fire. Rhea's trying to give encouragement to Dom, saying, say it louder. I don't think they heard you, because he legit was not being able to be heard because it was so, like, but this was good. This was, and at one point Priest was telling, come on, like, you could tell all of them. Well, three of them were like just basking in this. They understood what this meant. Dom, I think, was probably a little shell-shocked in the moment of like, what is happening?
Right.
But it also had to feel, hopefully now he's looking back at it. I mean, this was a good moment. This says something. This says to me, God, this could be a big deal whenever he finally has his one-on-one match against his father, whenever that is, whatever show that is, whether that's Extreme Rules, Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, Rumble. God, could they get it stretched to Mania? I don't know.
It's going to be tough to stretch it out to Mania, but that would be the ultimate. Can you imagine someone like Rey Mysterio facing his son at WrestleMania, and the feeling Dom would have to wrestle a legend like Rey Mysterio? And to your point about Dom getting the heel heat that he got tonight was tremendous. And it just shows you not only that this is working as far as him being presented as a heel, but it also shows you how loved Rey Mysterio is by this audience, and people are like, how can you do this to your dad?
And it helps too. Small detail, Rey and them are from San Diego, we're in San Jose, but it does help you're in California. You are in a maybe an area that just geographically has a little bit more attachment to Rey and the mask and Lucha. So
gotcha.
Yeah. Absolutely. There was a funny bit, though, in the promo, like earlier on. Rey Mysterio says, I've given everything in my life so that you could have the life I never had. And I was thinking, he's wrestling as a very young man. This is exactly the life you had, Rey Mysterio. But we had a super chat that has been sitting here for a very long time. Mia Lee, thank you so much for being patient. I wanted to wait till we got to the Judgment Day segment before getting to it, though. Judgment Day would look good with some gold. How would you all feel if Finn and Damian win the tag titles? We are definitely getting the bloodline in War Games, ? Jimmy, how do you feel about the tag titles coming to Judgment Day?
I don't have an issue with it, but I don't see the rush. Again, take your time. Let them get through this. I see War Games for me seems to be setting up with Judgment Day versus Rey and maybe a returning Edge and maybe a Matt Riddle, and maybe you get a Seth joining Judgment Day, trying to connect all the dots, so to speak, so you get a match. So there's still time. But like Justin said, can you stretch it out all the way to WrestleMania? That would be ideal. That would be something that would, be incredible for them.
For that to happen, for it to stretch to Mania, you would almost need. Well, first off, you obviously Dominic and Rey obviously can't have any singles match anywhere between. You'd almost need a situation of what Dominic did last week to Edge. You would need Dominic, with the help of his gang, to do to his father. Write Rey off for 3 or 4 months, however long you need it for the timeline.
Right.
Write Rey off. Dominic and crew continues to roll. Rumble. Dominic's in the match. Blah blah blah. They've cleared house. 3, 2, 1. Here's a returning Rey. and Ray's coming to the ring all of Judgment Day, or at least Finn and Damian try to stop him. Ray clears house, and then it's Ray and Dominic, whatever, and then whatever, and then that would be the way. You have to write Ray off, because I don't see how you can have both Ray and Dominic on TV every week between now and then and not have this match until Mania. That just seems impossible. So if they could find a way to do that, that to me is the ideal way to go about it.
Justin, Mia also mentions Bloodline and War Games. If Bloodline was in War Games, is it even feasible to come up with a team that could beat them? I feel like they're so dominant right now.
Well, that's a great question, and a question I have, and I don't think that this was clarified, and nor should it be, because don't show all your cards. War Games traditionally was 2 teams, but what's to stop Triple H from putting a spin on it and having War Games be 4 teams? You got 2. It's this giant.
Rings. Yeah.
You have 2 rings. It's this giant cage. If you're going to cross over between Raw and SmackDown, what's to say you don't have 4 teams involved? What's to say you're not looking for like supremacy, or God forbid, against stakes, where the winning team, gets something for whatever Rumble? I don't know, but like what I'm saying is, because to your point, Jack, who can stand up to Bloodline? But maybe it's not just a SmackDown thing with who can stand up to Bloodline. Maybe it's, well, Bloodline's dominating Fridays, and we need a babyface team to deal with them. Well, Judgment Day's dominating Mondays. We need a babyface team. Let's throw them all in War Games and let's let it all just converge. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they did do a 3-person War Games in late. I'm a late period WCW fan. I think they did NWO Wolfpack WCW one year, but I could be wrong. Me and 3 other people were watching. It was an incredible time.
Yeah. Well, my point being, you get to kind of rewrite your own rules, and if you're going to let 2 brands be involved in it, what's to say that maybe it's not just 2 teams?
Right.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
The ring's got 4 corners.
8 corners if we have 2 rings.
8 corners. We count
Well,
that might be a little bit muddy.
It's still technically kind of 4 corners, because the 2 sides. Anyways.
Yeah.
And now we're getting technical here.
Yes, it's
14 max. 14 max.
So we got a Miz TV, and this bit continues to perplex me. Miz wants to confront the man that broke into his house and is stalking him and his family. And Dexter cuts through the ring and tries to pull Miz into the ring. Ciampa hits him with a mic to save Miz. And we're all cheering for Dexter. Jimmy, I don't get it. I don't get why I'm supposed to like Dexter. He's a madman. What's going on?
I have no idea, because it either speaks to the great heelness of Miz, that someone as creepy as Dexter Lumis, who actually broke into his house, like last week, felt a little creepy that he was left alone in the house with the kids and that sort of stuff. But anyways, I think it speaks volumes for the Miz more than it does for Dexter Lumis, that people, regardless of what Dexter Lumis does, people still do not like the Miz. And Miz's promo tonight, when he was talking on the mic, again, awesome. The guy is awesome on the mic. And as someone who saw him from day one become what he has become, it's just amazing. This guy is so underappreciated by some in the wrestling community as for his tremendous heel persona.
100%. Justin, by the way, on commentary, fun bit, before they left, Corey Graves was freaking out about this, and Jimmy says he went back into his hole. It happens. It's no big deal. But Justin, I think we said this last week. All jokes aside, I'm ready for the next step, and I need to figure out why Dexter wants to antagonize the Miz at this point.
Yeah, we definitely need motivation. I mean, I think you can't deny what Jimmy just said. It speaks to Miz as just such a timeless heel. He's just people, but yeah, there needs to be, at some point we need an explanation of what's the motivate. Like, what what dastardly thing did the Miz do to Dexter Lumis or Dexter Lumis's family, if he has one, that we don't know about, that puts all of this in perspective, that puts all this in justification? Because, you know, to all the things you're saying, it is a little bit like, you know, like I can look back and somebody tweeted Raj and I on Twitter tonight, and I shared it and whatever. A call back to one of the famous Coming Through the Ring segments, February '96, in your house. It's cage match. It's Diesel versus Brett, and Taker comes through and pulls Diesel down, and what, you know, and it's like, you know, but there, if you watched at the time, there was context to that. There was context of Diesel antagonizing Taker and whatever, you know, like, it's like we don't have that right now. Why is Dexter Lumis, who had been disappeared and gone from the company, all of a sudden, like are we gonna find out that Miz got Dexter Lumis fired? Like, we need some justification. We, you know, the Easter eggs were fine for a while. We slow played this for a while, let it play out. We're getting to a point we need to start having answers. So we didn't get answers tonight. The question I also have too, from a logistics standpoint, Jimmy, I'd love to know your thoughts to this, was they do the spot and there's still one more match. I know that they could just pull the canvas off and put a new canvas on, but like, he cut through the ring. Normally, every time you see a cut through the ring, whether it's the what I just mentioned in '96, or we've seen Kane and Undertaker do other shenanigans, and even Bray Wyatt, normally whenever coming through the ring shenanigans happen, it's the last thing of the night. So it doesn't matter. But we still had one more match to go. I was like, logistically, how are they rectifying this?
I would. I'll wait till we get off the air because I don't want to spoil it for everybody. There is a way.
If you're gonna tell me, I'm okay. We don't need to spoil it for everyone else, but I want to know.
Ha! You guys don't get to hear the magic.
But yeah, I don't want to spoil that. As someone who's been on the ring crew for 2 decades, there is wonderful ways that they do the magic, whether it's cutting through the ring from underneath or having the ring collapse on a giant superplex off the top rope.
Oh, screw it. Yeah. Jack, end the podcast. I just want to end the podcast. I want to find out now.
I'm so excited. Let's get through this thing. We do have Judgment Day ran into AJ Styles backstage, and there was a tense back and forth about AJ joining or fighting Judgment Day. Jimmy, I get the feeling AJ is going to fight Judgment Day, but if I'm doing fantasy booking, which I said you shouldn't do just a second ago, is there something possibly fun about Finn not wanting to hurt AJ because they're buddies from before, and Dominic going, bro, I had to attack my dad, and now you got a friend you don't want to beat up?
Yeah, exactly. It's again planting more seeds, and you talked about who could be possibly in that War Games match. You know, obviously Judgment Day is a perfect candidate to be in that match, but who joins the other side? And maybe AJ is someone who can join the other team going against Judgment Day. And again, little signs that were thrown up there too that kind of found interesting, if you get my drift.
Standing together.
Yes, you know what I mean. So who knows? Maybe something comes out of that. But I like that they planted little seeds and they're making people guess, and they're working their way towards that War Games. And I think that was one of the seeds planted for War Games. So that's for sure.
Justin, this was something I loved about this is we saw literally I was texting with a pal, and right before this, my buddy Flobo Boyce, and we were talking about how where's AJ Styles been, and now he's here, and it's just I just like the idea of like taking people off TV for a little bit and making them fresh again. I don't know if that was intentional with this, but it was kind of like seeing him again. It was like, oh sweet, AJ Styles, as opposed to it's the guy that gets a segment every single week.
Well, yeah, and look, that again, in previous Raw booking formula, that would be tough to manage. But now we're seeing, you know, just a shakeup of let's use this talent this week. Let's you know, yeah, that's a good thing to do. It's not only is it good for the audience to, you know, miss the talent a little bit, but it's good for the talent just to have a, you know, a physical break. Yeah, it's right. I mean, especially again on Raw, 3-hour show, tough, but. You know, the way they're formatting, good God, Judgment Day ate up a lot of segments tonight, but it didn't feel like the they occupied a lot of minutes on TV, but it didn't feel like they dragged it. They just formatted it right. They had them come out. Then we had the promo, which we talked about. Great heat, break, match is a couple segments, but that's okay because we have so many participants involved. We got a lot out of everybody out there, and so it's a smart use of who you have. And let's give AJ a little break and let him recharge, but let's not let the people forget about him. So let's put him backstage real quick on the phone, and it's just at the end of the day, it's just having a creative plan. Again, we always hear about the script being ripped up and rewritten on the day of. It's hard to have a plan when that's happening, but if there's a plan right now, this is what we're seeing. And it's I can't speak enough to how refreshing this is to watch.
We get to the main event, and it's Alexa Bliss getting a match with Bayley. Speaking of people we don't see having matches every single week, shenanigans aplenty was my note I wrote here. Damage control. They knock Bliss off the turnbuckle. Bayley gets the win, and then they beat down all the heroes. And Bayley says she wants the title. Jimmy, I love that this is official now. Bayley is going after the title, and she's earned the right to stake a claim for it.
No, absolutely. The right decision here to have her win. And in true heel fashion, she won like a heel, getting help from her friends, little help from her friends. And who knows, maybe down the road, could be, for lack of a better term, a female version of the Bloodline, where they dominate the women's division with the Raw title, the tag titles, and so on and so forth. But and I think this works too, because Bayley is doing a wonderful job, and I keep talking about her heel work, and it just feels so good listening to her talk like that and getting that heel heat, as opposed to she's doing such a good job as a heel. I appreciate it. No, people want to boo her.
Right, 100%. Justin, now one of the moments I think got a lot of tweets going when it happened was the lights flickered during this match. And I was wondering, is that supposed to happen? Is not supposed to happen? Something that added some fuel to that fire was a super chat from the WWE Reject that said, Alexa said 10 feet tall, which is a line from White Rabbit. Was that flicker of the lights something telling us something?
I honestly don't know. Again, I they're putting effort into Easter eggs, but then I can also see, that flicker of the lights. It was like the lights went down on the ring. That's also a very common lighting activity that happens when they go to commercial break and they want to show something on the Titantron. So it could have literally been as simple as it's humans control the lights. It's human error. Somebody just hit the wrong button and just real quickly but that's the wonderful thing. We don't know. And then the fact that Alexa has history, to a spooky character like a Bray Wyatt, who's at the forefront of the speculate. I mean, I don't know. I could see it as being as honest as just somebody hit the wrong button real quick, and that's beautiful, right? I mean, we don't know. Right. We don't know.
Awesome.
Well, and that's the beauty of, like you said, of everything that's been happening is now it makes everything feel important. I feel like I have to watch 3 hours of show. I got to pay attention because something might happen. Don't get to do quite as much laundry as I was able to do watching the show before, but I think that does it for us. I thought this was a good show. Again, I don't know if there was any of those. Well, actually, I don't know, that Dom promo we might be talking about for a while as his kind of moment of when we all realized, he's a big jerk. Not a jerk, but I don't know the booze of the Dominic promo reminded me of like Elias in Seattle when he got that like the whole city booing him to death. So I don't know, kind of good show though. What do you guys think as we wrap up?
No, I thought it was a very good show. If you're talking about from an in-ring standpoint, I thought all the matches delivered tonight. All the matches seem to have gotten ample time to tell their stories and tell, good stories in the ring, minus the little hiccups in the first few matches that we talked about with the baby faces helping, win the matches. But other than that, I thought, it delivered. I loved the pacing. I loved the the way they mixed in matches with the promo segments and the Miz TV segment and all that, I think it all worked out fine. I thought it was interesting placing the ladies match last. Yeah, mainly because, we all know that those who do pay attention to ratings, the last hour it tends to dip. So I don't know if that was, a ploy to have, maybe hopefully people have them tune in or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the last hour always is lowest, but Bailey, they announced her from San Jose when she came out. So is it a local promotional thing to, so I don't know. They're dealing with 2 football games as we talked about tonight. So this might be one of the biggest challenges they have with viewership tonight. We'll see. But they've had Monday Night Football the last 2 weeks or last week at least. And, they did better last week than they had in previous years. Again, so it's going to be interesting to see. But overall, so a good show, not the best show, but a good show. And a lot of things make sense. A lot of things have purpose. A lot of things have we'll tune in next week, and it's episodic TV that has no off season. That's all you can ask for is give me a reason to tune in next week.
Well, Justin, where can the world tune in to see you this week and next week and going forward?
I'm off this Wednesday. I will not be here this Wednesday for Dynamite with Jimmy, Risa. Look, it's my wedding anniversary. As Raj jokingly said, he goes, "You don't want to watch wrestling on your wedding anniversary."
Yeah,
you want to stay married.
So none doing there on Wednesday for me. I'll catch it on the DVR. I think I'm back on Busted Open Friday morning with Dave LaGreca and probably Thunder Rosa Friday morning. Again, if you want to get to Pittsburgh for SmackDown in December, go to my Twitter page for the actual link. There is a code LaBar, LABAR. I don't think capitalization matters. Wednesday to Thursday, pre-sale happening. Get your tickets. But otherwise, follow me on Twitter. Leave a nice comment. As always, tweet us. Let us know where in the world you are listening or watching us. And that's always fun. Do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, where can the world find you?
Right here on Monday nights with you guys, Triple J, always putting it together. And on Wednesday nights, without Justin this week, but I'll be there recapping Dynamite, AEW Dynamite, and whatever news happens to be that day. And also you can catch me daily on my Ref and Rants where I try to have a little fun being the Canadian Heat Magnet.
And my name's Jack Farmer. You can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. On the MacMania podcast, we interviewed FTR, and that interview is getting posted tomorrow. I asked them some pretty fun questions, like what do they think they need to accomplish to be the best tag team of all time, as well as what are their thoughts on these tag teams with 3 people in it doing the old Freebird rules? Does that even count? I asked them those questions because that's what bothers me. Oh, that's where I sit on it. It bothers me. You're not tag teams are 2 people. I get all crabby about it. But that does it for us. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Ian, Dream Realm Studios, Monica, Rocky, Tuck, Graf, Sergio, Chris, stalking you, Dexter. We have Birdie and everyone else. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. Make sure to tune in to the NXT After Show on Wrestling Inc. tomorrow and follow at Wrestling Inc. on social media as well. That is for us. Later.